recap of some of the pieces, particularly in October when you guys are going to be swinging solo for a good amount of time. It's going to be helpful to just make sure we've got some good routines down so that we are continuing to reinforce various pieces of your rowing from this point and moving forward. So over the course of the year, we've covered a lot of different pieces of drills, of technical concepts, of all these things that can be applied in the drills. And so we want to make sure that we are setting up some sort of routine so that we are regularly practicing these. We're going to be doing different workouts in the fall in terms of probably longer pieces for the most part, potentially even longer amount of time training. You have to get the distance in. So it's important that we're still allocating designated pieces of time to focus on feeling these technical aspects which we then apply during the pieces. So we've talked about pick drill, we've talked about some of the drills, we've done wide grip, we've done feet out, we've talked about pause drills, so looking at pausing it, particularly focusing on this importance, as we talked about last week, of the ability to shift in our hips forward and do so evenly. We briefly touched on looking at reverse pick, so being able, once we actually get up to the catch, being able then to really feel the effective application of suspension all the way down through. So doing just catch, then legs only, legs and body, and then finally legs and body, and adding the arms back in. So deconstructing the stroke both on the recovery and the drive so that we become really proficient. We're focusing on a very small slice or sliver, becoming very proficient at that so that we can then apply what we're really feeling there back into normal rowing. So we want to make sure that we are doing this. I'm going to be a stickler every time you go out. You have to do some drills, and if you're doing, and at this point I'm going to say that just the pick drill, since you guys can cycle through that pretty quickly, isn't really going to count. So if you can do the pick drill really efficiently, then it's like, okay, then do reverse pick. We want to make sure that we're allocating, let's say here on the lagoon, at least a pass down and up to get your drills in, to get your warm-up of kind of getting your 10s or whatever, so that after you've gotten probably 2,000 in, you're almost warmed up or getting pretty darn close to actually then being able to do whatever your pieces are. So making sure that when you're thinking about workout time, you're allocating time to actually put that in, because those pieces are important. If we want to improve our overall speed, we have to improve our technical efficiency. And to do that, to really be able to kind of break out of comfort zones, we have to make sure we're allocating time to actually work on those drills and feel where do we feel uncomfortable, and then practice it. And then as you get with drills and you get more proficient, I would suggest cycling through, because you can't do all of them every time you go out, but you can kind of regularly rotate through and just see which are the ones that are not comfortable, and you work them in until you get comfortable, and then you cycle through. So there's always plenty of stuff to look at.
So can you list the drills quick again?
So just a general, particularly as we get older, is something that's very helpful just to make sure that we're not putting too much strain in the body early on. Pick drill. So it's something like the first thing we talked about at the beginning, late spring. Importance of pick drill and importance of doing it correctly in terms of being aware of the mechanics and how we're shifting. So we've got pick drill. We then talked about wide grip. So wide grip, the boat is going to be less stable. We are also going to have the opportunity, if we have sort of challenge in terms of just feeling how to get length, we get wide grip, we have the potential to get more length out, because we have shorter inboard. So we have wide grip. We have our pause drills. So the primary point of pause in here is making sure that we're just feeling the importance of the shift through. I mean, one of the things that, particularly with that video you sent out about Gordon's breakdown of some of those drills, is we want to make sure we understand why are we doing a particular drill. There's lots of interesting things we can come up with, flying eagle, cut the cake, all this crap that's like, what's the point? How does this apply to actually improving technique rowing normally. We have to understand what the underlying intent is. If we don't, then we're just kind of like going through the motions. You're wasting your time. So you need to understand what the point of the drill is, feel it in your body, and then apply it when you actually go to normal rowing. So we've got pick drill, wide grip, pause drills, particularly feeling that shift and then weight down into the feet. Stuff I've been talking about ad nauseum all season and for years. You have to make sure you're getting yourself an opportunity to feel this. You got to do the drill to do it, to feel that. We've got reverse pick. So once we get a sense of how to actually get up to the catch, and we get proficient kind of hanging up there, we can then actually start looking at, can I actually get the blade in? And then start working myself back down. So we have that, so we can reverse it around. I would suggest strongly for most of you guys here that we do that only after we're warmed up. Staying up at the catch, kind of staying compressed, tends to put a little more load on the body, so you want to make sure the muscles and everything are loose and limber. And then we also got another one which we can definitely work in when we're doing, especially on a nice day, when we're doing just normal swing, lower rate, so you know, something like under 22 on the rating. Quarter feather, half feather, three-quarter feather. If the water's nice, you should be able to do those at a lower rate pretty proficiently. Okay? So those are some very nice pieces of working through. If we're working, this is just in a single. You get into bigger boats, there's other things we can look at in more complex drills. But those are some very nice pieces. And then finally, the final drill we really added in was feet out. So we're looking at the importance and the value of being able to get out cleanly. Feet out is the best way to do it. So if you can't, it's like, I'm trying to get faster. Just double check. It's a way to see, be honest and see, if my feet are out, do I maintain the same length or do I cut short? If I cut short, I'm losing something in my foot contact. Very simple here. So we cover them all here. Is anyone's I missed that I didn't mention here? Just listening through. That should give you a pretty good breakdown of that. And we also looked at, I think early in the season, just different finger placements, so that we're practicing how to actually get the handle, the grip out into the fingers, out of the palm. So being able to kind of work with the fingers off. It's, you know, not I want to do when the weather's warm, you know, when your fingers are more dexterous, but this is another way to kind of, something that's done at a light pressure, so you know, you can't really have to kind of work this outside of any kind of workout, any kind of thing like that. Are there any questions about any of those drills and the intent or how you do them, what you're supposed to feel about them?
So the reverse pick is just, again, just go.
The reverse pick. So the importance of the reverse pick is to really make sure that we are feeling ourselves engage at full slide. So if we are, a lot of what we've been talking about in terms of prep, lateral connection, finger contact, is being able to get that blade prepped so that it goes into the water at full compression. So once we are there, we want to have then the opportunity of saying like, okay, can we actually practice just that particular slice of the overall stroke cycle? So we practice just kind of, probably usually from about somewhere just before three-quarter slide. We're just rolling up. We're actually mostly rolled up, and we just kind of roll in, engage, sort of back the blades in, drive just a little bit, engage with the water, and then release, and come up and do it again. So we're practicing just that locking in and engaging and making sure we're backing it in.
Is there any leg movement, or
maybe an inch?
You don't open your back, it's just leave your back the same?
Your body is stationary. It should be, if you're looking at sort of creating just that first engagement part of the drive sequence. So if everything else is set up correctly, we should have nice length through our body. We should be forward on our sit bones. The weight should be even in our feet. We should be sort of having nice sort of length and tall through the body out here, and then it's just an engagement. And the movement is from the seat. It's not this, it's not this. Everything else, we're just hanging and just engage, engage, engage. And we do that maybe, probably 20, maybe 25 at a shot. Because holding ourselves up there it's going to put a little, strain on the body in terms of the back holding it there. So you do it, make sure you're backing it in, and then after that you just row it legs only. Okay? In terms of release timing, and I think some of you have been talking about this as of late, release timing. if you do just legs only, so you're doing this, practicing this reverse pick, legs only, and then even just legs and body, without breaking the arms, you will notice really quickly if you are not tapping out together. Because you'll get this kind of like, I feel like I want to break my arms because I can't quite sort of get out cleanly. It's like, because you're not. So practice it. As I've said lots of times before, the things that don't feel comfortable, that's what you have to practice because you're not efficient there. And if you think, I mean, most of you here, I've said the same thing lots of times. So we have to find ways you're on the water. So there are things that you have yet to actually integrate automatically into your rowing strokes. So you have to find ways to practice those particular pieces. Change the muscle memory until it becomes automatically proficient. That's it. I mean, you don't have to. I'm not going to force you. It's a free country. But if you want to get faster, the laws of physics do not apply to your bubble of the world. So you got to get your blade in the water sooner. You got to be able to apply your weight. And to do that, you have to have all these other pieces in place so that you can leverage through, and then you got to get out cleanly. The real basic concepts of how boats go fast. Get in sooner, stay in the water longer, get out cleaner. Okay? Any more questions about how to work any of those drills?
So how about the pause drill? Yeah.
The pause drill is mainly just an opportunity to kind of feel this orientation is prep. You weren't here, but the video is online for last week. The importance of making sure that both sides of the pelvis mechanically are able to move. So most of us do not have that same range of motion. So we want to make sure that we can feel that and feel the importance of how do I shift forward on both sides of the hips evenly. And so practicing pausing there, so either at sort of body angle, so I've just come over and I should feel a little bit of hamstring pull on either sides, probably. And then maybe from there, quarter slide. So the knees have just come up, and then as the knees start to come up, I start to feel some of the weight really start to transfer down into the feet. Is that weight even? And if I pause, I give myself an opportunity to feel it, assuming I'm paying attention. If I'm not paying attention, then again, I'm wasting my time. So with drills, you must pay attention to all these mechanical pieces that I'm talking about. We're slowing things down. Drills are done slow, low rate. Give yourself time to feel it. Once you can feel it, then you can start to apply it faster. This is why with most of you guys I'm saying, like, slow the rate down. You cannot change stuff at a high rate. You're just zipping along, zipping along, zipping along. You're not going to feel it, and you're just running on autopilot. If you want to change that muscle memory, you've got to slow down. Just like if you were going to try and write with your non-dominant hand. Your dominant hand, you just kind of like, you don't have to think about it. If you had to switch over, you would really have to concentrate. Like, okay? Because the muscle memory is not there. The connections up here are not there. And we are trying to change that. And to do that, we have to slow down. Because you've got lots of little neural connections set up for firing. Just think of how many strokes you've taken just now up to this point in your rowing careers. Or you can lots. If you want to change those, you've got to, and for even people who are new, there's other little neural connections you've been laying, other ways you've been using your body that are kind of like, oh yeah, we know how to do this. Drop them right in. So we want to change that. And to change that, we have to go slow, and we have to be very conscious of paying attention to what we're doing so that we can rewire ourselves. And if we don't, then we're going to run out of room. We're just going to like, oh yeah, run out, and it's not going to be efficient. We're probably not going to feel it when I'm talking to you guys and saying, let's change this, and let's change it, and let's change it. I keep coming back to it. There's a disconnect between what you think you're doing and what's actually happening. This is why I'm providing the verbal impact, feedback. And then the onus is on you to try to get that sense from the feedback when I say, yes, that's it. And then you find ways to try to find that experience more, and the drills is one of the ways where you can really focus in on that one specific spot. Okay?
You know, I tell you, when I arrived at practice, I was all geared up, happy, ready to go.
Okay.
And now, after listening to this, though, you know, I'm gone down because, you know, I hear all of this that, you know, you've ad nauseum, as you said, you know, you've instructed us.
Right.
And I said, my God, I don't think I've gotten any of this. And that's kind of like, I don't feel empowered or enthusiastic about getting on the water because I've got so much to do. And
One piece at a time. So we take the drills, we focus on one particular aspect. Say like, okay, I really want to feel the shifting of the hips. I really want to feel the ability to maintain contact at the release, lateral connection. I want to feel that, and then I want to kind of take the next movement and roll up. And I focus. It's like check, got that. I can feel that. Add the next layer. Add the next layer. Add the next layer. So within the course of any of the drills we're talking about, you could add boom, 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 reinforcement saying, here's the track I want to be on. And so I take those small steps in the course of 1,000 meters, I can kind of muscle memory, reinforce, boom, 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 good, on the right track. If I don't do that, especially if I know I have old habits, I'm going to be susceptible to then kind of just falling into old habits because this is, yes, rowing I know how to do. And we're saying, no, we want to change those habits, and so to do them, every time we go out, we want to reinforce what we're looking, the new experience we're looking to create.
I think for me, what I get out of these talks is that there's a lot of information here, right, that Matt's giving us. He's giving it to the group, so it kind of applies to the group as a whole. I personally had two things that I know I need to work on. So I don't necessarily filter out what's he's saying about the other drills, but I do focus on those two things that I know I need to work on. And if I just think about those two things, or even one of those, and be successful with that, I'll move on to the next one. You gotta, in any kind of system, you have to optimize the lowest hanging fruit, right? You don't do it all at once. You pick the one thing, right, and then you make that right, and then you move to the next thing, the next hanging fruit that you want.
that's a process.
Yeah, it is. It's a process.
Well, even some of the way it presented all this information through the course of the season, it's like we started very simple at the very beginning, and we've sort of added new layers of complexity, and people have been able to integrate different pieces depending on what speed they're improving or kind of progressing along. So yeah, we're working within a group context to kind of cover the whole range. And so for some people at some points it's like, yeah, I know this, and other people it's like, oh, this is new stuff. And sometimes it's repeat, a lot of times. But hopefully we're giving enough exposure so that eventually, past like when I've asked questions, you guys are like, oh, I know that. You know exactly what I'm trying to recreate because it's clear here, it's clear in the body, it's muscle memory, all these pieces. If I ask the question, you're like, so this is bad science. We should know, we should be able to see it, what we're looking to create, so that we're not trying to invent something new out here out of the blue. We have a template that we're working on. That's what the videos that I've disseminated. It's like these help, and even just touch them back in with the other stuff that we talked about. Is that right? Yeah. Any questions? Okay, so let's see your whatever one drill you're going to choose. Let me know what it is, and let's see it on the water.